Hi there, I am Megan Freed. We are at a pretty quiet Hartford Freed Marcroft office with my friend and colleague Laura Renfro.
Good morning.
Thank you for being here. We are talking about something that is really different for me than for most people today. We're talking about how to survive close quarters with your spouse. So, Laura's a licensed marital and family therapist. And we are going to assume that most people aren't like me, where I live and work with my spouse anyway. Right? So I am self-quarantine has issues, but this is different for me. Other people are used to going to work all day, or they work from home, and other people leave. And so we want to help figure out how to make that adjustment and keep relationships healthy through togetherness. Through a lot of togetherness.
Absolutely.
And stress togetherness.
So staying solid for your spouse or your partner, if you're not married, how can you stay solid when all of a sudden life has gotten turned upside down? Where one of you may work from home and everybody leaves, or suddenly both of you are working from home. And how are you going to manage that time together in a way that's going to keep your relationship as healthy as it can be?
Right.
So my first tip is to talk to each other.
Ooh, Laura.
I know it's a novel idea.
I know.
But talking to one another.
Easier said than done.
Yeah, easier said than done for lots of people. For people in long relationships and for people who may be experiencing some difficulty in their relationship as well. But talking to one another, I think, is the first bit of this. And really kind of getting vulnerable and talking about how you're feeling about all these changes. What the worries are. You know, if your kids aren't at home or your kids are at home. Or if you don't have any children, or you're worried about your parents, or you're worried about your siblings, what's going on the inside, so that you can share that and get the connection and support from the person that you're in a relationship with. I mean, many of us are in relationships because we prefer that than being alone. So being able to share with people how you're feeling and how you're doing, I think is really important.
Right, and as you share it, trying to focus on the positive in the statement too, so that you can share your feelings without sort of getting into a pessimistic spiral together. So, I'm worried about Mom. It was really great to be able to FaceTime last night.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's real important too.
Yeah.
So one of the things in a physical space, I've been thinking about physical locations and physical spaces. I think it's really important that if you're both working from home, that you talk again and communicate where you're going to be. Where is my space going to be? Where's your space going to be? Where are we going to be together? And hopefully you have the luxury of having some space so that you can get some distance and you're not in really tight quarters where you're having to work side by side.
Right. So this is part of the discipline that some people who work from home have already set up for themselves. Like, I work from home a lot, and it's like I work here and I watch TV here. I don't do them in the same place.
Exactly.
So sort of that, but with more people.
Right.
This is Laura's workspace. This is Megan's workspace.
Right. And I think that in addition to that, one of the things that I try to get creative with some of these things, right? And how do you know when you can both when one of you might be taking a break, and can the other person take a break? And what are those kind of rules and guidelines?
Yeah, because we're not used to each other's work patterns.
Exactly. So one of the things that I actually did this yesterday with my husband, I was working in my little office space, and he happened to be at the dining room working on his computer. And I was like, how about you just put a piece of paper up when you're on a call? Because I can't identify when he's on a call.
Oh, that's brilliant.
And so it's like, if you just put a piece of paper up there, I won't come up and go, oh.
Do you want a turkey sandwich?
Right. Exactly. So we're working on cues like that with each other, so that we don't, interrupt each other's work time.
Yeah,
because we don't want to do that either. Yeah,
cool idea.
Yeah, it seemed to make sense. We're also creating some alone time.
Okay.
Because this is different for us.
Yeah.
I did go to the office yesterday, and I continue to see clients in my office a little bit if people are comfortable, and I have a very small.
But you have a lot more overlap with Dennis than usual.
A lot more overlap with my husband than usual. So we're also creating some alone time too. And so yesterday I happened to have to work a little bit later than usual, and he was sitting in our living room reading a book, and that solitude was perfect for him. Daphne, I think, is agreeing. She's saying, yes, alone time is important.
Yeah, she hates all of it.
And then what about playing a game or watching a movie? I know you're jigsaw puzzling,
jigsaw,
right?
Jigsaw puzzling.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. We called the center part of our jigsaw last night Shades of Vanilla.
I saw a picture of it, and there was a lot of vanilla in there. It must have been hard.
Yeah.
Playing a game, watching a movie.
Yeah.
I think that there are a lot of people who are going to be binge Netflixing and other kinds of streaming things, and I completely understand that. But I think maybe movies might be a little bit more helpful because you can have some dialogue about. I mean, you can have dialogue about anything, right? But
yeah,
doing something together is also important.
There are a few podcasts that have like. You watch a movie at the beginning of the week, and then we're gonna talk about the movie at the end of the week, sort of like movie book club setup.
Oh, I love that.
Really cool.
You'll have to post some information on that. That would be really helpful. Cooking, I think that everybody I'm not sure, most people I think in Connecticut have the food that they need.
Yeah.
So we actually have been pulling out a cookbook and are looking at different recipes for this week. Today is St. Patrick's Day, so corned beef is already in the crock pot.
Yeah, more
Traditions.
elaborate cooking, right? We
Yeah.
have a little more time because
A little
we're
bit more
spending
time. Exactly, yeah. And then also keeping in line with what we had talked about a little bit earlier today, get outside together.
Okay.
If you can.
Dog walks.
Dog walks.
This is just basically Daphne propaganda.
Yeah, that's
right.
She
that's
deserves
what
it.
we're doing here. Laura, I want to talk about, I mean, at Friedmar Croft, we practice divorce and family law. Mm-hmm. You're a licensed family and marital therapist. You work with families in conflict as well, and we work together. One of the things I want to make sure we talk about is that there is a reality that spending a lot of time in a home together is going to reveal, in some cases, underlying relationship issues, right? That it's going to be the catalyst to discover some things. So we've been talking about relationships and how to keep them strong in this together stress time, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I also just want to put a point on the fact that some couples are going to decide not to stay together. And that's okay, right? I mean, it's okay for people in unhappy relationships to decide to get into different situations. But we're still in houses together right now.
Absolutely.
So can you talk a little bit to those families about how to make the best of this situation for couples who may ultimately decide, no, we're gonna make a different choice, but for now, how do we be together?
Right. So I'm sure we are both still working with couples who are in the process of divorcing.
For sure.
And I'm working with them regularly as we have been all along. So
yeah.
A lot of the things that we've talked about prior to this period of time are still in effect, are exactly the same. So
yeah.
Giving each other some space, giving each other breaks, either from being in the house or being near each other. There is no ban on taking a drive.
Right.
There's no ban
this
on
is
going.
really important.
Yeah.
You can have a private conversation with your therapist, with your divorce attorney, with your friend by getting in the car and going for a drive. Or I have a great cousin who goes for twalks. TWALKs, right?
Right.
Grab the dog, go for a walk, have a private conversation.
Absolutely.
Out in the woods,
right.
So
I think the same guidelines are in effect for what we usually talk about with parents or adults and or adults with children. The same guidelines are in effect. You need to be respectful as much as you can, keep conflict low. I think that's even more important now. Having big discussions about things that are making you upset or angry about the other person, if you can avoid them and kind of either hold them or even let them go for now, so that you can live more peacefully with one another. I think that's an important point to make. That's
great, and I think that's right. Keep conflict low, and also, to the extent that you can put a plan in place, that plans make people feel better. That's my major way of managing stress. Okay, this is the situation. What are we going to do? Mm-hmm. And obviously, building flexibility into that plan is key too. So. For example, if you do decide that exiting the relationship is the right thing, call us. We'll start the process and get you set up so that when courts reopen, you're ready. But in the meantime, what you'll know is you've taken action, and we're gonna get through this and be set up on the other side. So
absolutely.
All right.
Great.
Laura Renfro, thank you.
Thank you, Megan. It's always nice to be with you, and for those of you who are with us, we hope you can keep the peace.
Keep the peace
And support each other.
That's right, and support each other.